The text came in at 11:03 p.m. I bring my looks and presence to the table. You need to earn $200K minimum to handle me. She sent it without any hint of hesitation, no playful smile, no emoji, just blunt, as if she had been rehearsing it for days. I read it, twice. My eyes lingered on the words. I was supposed to feel something, shocked, angry, hurt, but I didn't. It was just data, and I processed it like any other piece of information. She worked part-time retail. Her job barely paid for her rent, let alone the luxury lifestyle she prided herself on. But she thought she was a prize, a woman who deserved to be handled with care, demanded to be earned. She had an image of herself, flawless, untouchable. "Fair trade," I replied, tapping my fingers against the screen. I wasn't angry. No, I was calculating. That text was a moment of weakness, a glimpse into her delusion. She thought I would jump, change everything about myself to meet her demands. But I didn't. I just smiled, and the plan began to form. She thought I'd fight for her, compete, prove myself. But I didn't need to prove anything. I needed something better. I wasn't the man who'd scramble for the scraps of her attention. I wasn't the type to beg. So I did something she never saw coming. I hired a professional matchmaker, a woman who dealt with high-net-worth clients, executives, doctors, lawyers, people who didn't need to advertise their worth, who didn't need validation from anyone. I gave her my criteria, a woman who was self-made, who earned her own way, someone who had the presence to match mine. She sent me a profile a week later, a doctor, cardiologist, mid-30s, elegant, confident, intelligent. The woman in the profile didn't demand $200K for her time, she earned it herself. She didn't ask for anything from anyone. She was the real deal. And then came the moment I never anticipated. I met Dr. Zara Hale. One dinner. That was all it took. We talked for hours about everything: life, ambition, sacrifice. The connection was instant. She didn't demand, she didn't boast, she didn't need me to prove anything. When she laughed, it wasn't because she wanted something from me. It was because we had found a rhythm, a mutual understanding. She brought something to the table, and it felt good. A week later, I ran into her at a charity gala. The air was thick with desperation. Women draped in diamonds and men in overpriced suits, all jockeying for status. I watched her walk into the room, her presence instantly commanding attention. She didn't need anyone's approval. And then I saw here, my ex. She stood at the back of the room, her eyes narrowing as they landed on me, then quickly flicked over to Zara. The expression on her face, disbelief mixed with something darker. It was the exact look she gave me when I first met her, all those months ago. The look of a woman who thought she could control the narrative. But now, the narrative was mine. I didn't need to confront her. I didn't need to ask the questions. I already knew. Zara leaned in to speak, but I felt a shift in the room, something palpable. My ex was standing across the room, eyes locked on us. Her mouth was barely moving, but I could see the words forming in her mind. I didn't look at her, not directly. I slid a report across the table to Zara, a small, quiet movement. Zara raised an eyebrow, then opened the envelope. It was a copy of a financial statement, a bank statement, with a large transfer made from my ex's account to another man's account, a high-end jewelry purchase, an apartment lease. She had been living a double life, pretending to be something she wasn't, using me to maintain her illusion. The truth hit Zara like a truck. Her fingers trembled as she read. "Is this?" I nodded. "It's all I need to know." Zara didn't need to ask more questions. She already knew. The betrayal was never just about me. It was about the illusion of who she thought she was. My ex made her way toward us, and I stood slowly. She reached us with that familiar, false confidence, her lips curling into something like a smile. "Well, this is a surprise," she said, her voice as sharp as glass. I didn't acknowledge her directly. I just handed her the same report. Her eyes flicked over the pages, and for the first time I saw her face drop. The mask cracked. She blinked twice. Then the tears came. She swiped at them with the back of her hand, but it was too late. The cracks were already there. What is this?" Her voice trembled. You're making a mistake. This is not—" I didn't wait for her to finish. I turned to Zara, nodded once, and watched the woman walk away with purpose. No words, no sympathy, only clarity. I didn't care about her anymore. Not in the way I once did. I sat back down, calm, controlled. The world outside continued as if nothing had happened. But for me, everything had changed. I had found clarity in the chaos, distance in the destruction. It wasn't revenge, it was liberation. I smiled at Zara and then at myself. Because the truth was this: I had already moved on. I had won before I even started. And she would never recover from this.